Hi, I'm Mark Loftus, and we're in Las Vegas for NAB 2024. Join us on the show floor here as we go and look at some of the latest technology from manufacturers throughout the production and post-production industry.
Hi, I'm Bob from Blackmagic, and today we want to talk about our new DaVinci Resolve 19 update. It's got lots of new features, including some new AI tools in lots of the different tabs, including the Fusion page, the Color page, the Edit page, and the Fairlight Audio page, where you can actually do something pretty cool. It has this IntelliTrack AI that you can actually track the image as it goes across the screen so that the audio will pan directly in sync with the object as it goes across. So instead of having to do lots of keyframing, it just does it for you. It's very, very cool. One of the other things that we introduced was our new DaVinci Micro Panel. So this new micro panel can work with the iPad, but it also can work with a workstation that you have. It is Bluetooth connectivity, it has an internal battery that you charge with USB-C, and we have it in 15 different languages. This new panel is very robust. It has great feeling trackballs and rings here. The buttons are really solid. If you can fit it in your hand like this, then it's very portable, so you can bring this on set anytime, anywhere.
What's behind me here is our new Quantum 32, and we call it Quantum 32 because this panel uses a quantum dot OLED, which is a brand new type of technology where it takes the best of what OLED offers and enhances it with these quantum dot nanoparticles. And this quantum dot stuff is actually something that won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2023. It's really, really innovative. But the way this works is that the entire OLED layer of this panel is all blue. The reason it's all blue is that blue light OLED has the highest light energy. And so what they do in addition to that is they have another layer on top of that of red subpixels and green subpixels that are these quantum dot nanoparticles. So they're not a filter, they're little tiny particles, and to give you an idea of how tiny they are, they're 2 or 3 nanometers in size, and you know everyone's like, well, what's a nanometer? So the hair on your head is like anywhere between 80,000 and 100,000 nanometers.
It's incredibly.
So these things are really, really small. When they get that small, then they take on quantum characteristics. So what does that mean? It means that that light energy that's coming from the blue OLED hits those particles, and based on their size, one is going to be a green subpixel and one's going to be red, and they're very narrow spectrum light. So what you end up with is narrow spectrum red, green, and blue, because the blue subpixel passes straight out. Now you can get the OLED panel in luminance all the way out to like 1,000 nit peak, and that means the colors now can have more volume. That means that you have more shades of different red, green, and blue combinations, and you get much more lifelike images. This is the first monitor that we've put out that is really reference level for final grading. This type of reference monitor is $30,000 range. We're able to get this thing out at a list price of $13,000.
I'm Dan Durant from Red. We're showing off a few cool features. One of them was called Phantom Track, which we were doing with a row LED screen here. With the screen, we're actually sending multiple slices through the megapixel and the Sky server. We're sending out 2 different video slices, one of the final pixel, so whatever you want your image to be on set, and then one of a green screen. So you have that safety net of being able to comp out without having to do anything on the final pixel. You have that green screen for an easy way to rotoscope whatever you need to do. The other thing we're showing off is called Extended Highlights, and Extended Highlights is going to be protecting your image, giving you 3 more stops in the highlights. It's a very similar concept as Phantom Track, but we're actually blending the 2 tracks together. And you can see here's a sunset. Usually you want to expose for the city, and that would cause the highlights to blow out. But with Extended Highlights, if I enable that, you retain all that highlight information. So 2 unique features that we're doing with the Raptor X right here, and its global shutter capabilities.
MTI Film is a services and software company. So we are a post house that does everything from dailies to television finishing. And we use a suite of tools in-house, Cortex primarily, for doing the dailies component, doing the IMF packaging. However, also on our services side, we have a large restoration business, and with that, we use DRS Nova. So the 2 products are sort of category based on restoration with DRS Nova, and then traditional post-production using Cortex as a utility tool to support dailies to finishing. And with DRS Nova, we now have MTI Frame Gen, and what it's doing is actually when you have jump cuts or a black slug where the film broke and they brought it together and just inserted black frames, we can now take an output frame to an input frame and generate a full frame, completely realistic image that replaces that. So MTI Frame Gen is very impressive, and we just recently used it on Sunset Boulevard. We probably replaced like 50 shots that we fixed using MTAI. So it's been used at our services facility, but now will be made public with DRS Nova. We also use it inside of Cortex doing frame convert. So if I have a 24 frame source and now I want to remaster for UHD, HDR at 60, we can keep the same time base, but generate additional frames using the MTAI to take it to 60. In addition, we're using more what I would call utility AI for automation. So with Cortex, we're starting to automate dailies, automating QC of an IMF package, creation of IMF, all with just a prompt command.
Hi, I'm Colleen Smith representing Avid. We've got a bunch of booths, a lot of demonstrations that we're doing, but probably a couple of the most popular, as you can see behind me, is anything around AI. So over on this booth, what we're doing is we're talking about Avid Ada, which is our AI solution and technology. In some ways, what we're adding is the AI technology to our existing products, and other ways, what we're doing is bringing out brand new innovative solutions. So one example, our most recent media composer phrase find is Phrase Find AI. And what we're doing is utilizing new AI technologies to really help people become more efficient, to do it faster, and to be able to do their jobs easier. That's what it's really all about. We're also showing a number of new capabilities in our Media Composer for collaborative workflows. You know, it's still about remote production, it's still about being able to do collaboration and making sure that people can work together no matter where they're located.
It's a real portfolio refresh across the board for Dell. We've got new PowerScale nodes on the storage front, new ECS nodes on the object store front. As well, Dell has released the 16th generation of their server platform with PCIe Gen 5 and DDR5 memory, so there's an incredible performance boost coming from the hardware. Also, we've rewritten Isilon, PowerScale, whatever you want to call it, is the fastest release ever. We've seen 40% speed bumps from previous nodes. So it's all new stuff, all performance focused across the board. NVIDIA is actually sharing our booth because we have a really tight relationship around AI. They, of course, make the GPUs. We make the servers that those GPUs go into. But more importantly is their software, Holoscan for Media, which is a software-defined broadcast platform. And of course, if you use the NVIDIA framework, then you get access to all of the AI stuff that NVIDIA is known for. And one of those things is called the AI Workbench. You can use it as a creative assistant in the beginning stages of the creative pipeline. The reason why our performance gains on the storage is so important is once you've invested in all these really expensive GPUs for AI training or for whatever you're doing, keeping those GPUs full and fed all the time. So we've got the faster storage I mentioned and new network protocols such as GPU Direct and NFS over RDMA and all of these really fast, low latency network protocols to keep those GPUs humming at 100% efficiency.
Our software is called Davant Studio, and it's a real-time AI image-to-image software that runs all locally on the machine. And it came about because my co-founder David and myself both have backgrounds in film and television, and then I went on to work in software in agencies, design agencies and whatnot, and we saw a gap in the market between, you know, AI coming out super powerful, but it was all online, it's all cloud-based, and we know that in a professional workflow setting, you need maximum control, flexibility, and local first may be paramount to some of those workflows. The effects that you can create with our software are virtually limitless. I like to say infinite imagination, because we have all the power of the text prompt along with all of the controls. So we're not dictating any effects, you're not choosing from a bank. So it's really up to the user and how they interact with the software. So that could be photoreal from a sketch of a dress, as well as, you know, making a graphic novel pane out of a stick figure or a shoot of a plastic toy, or like, there's just so many different creative ways to use that in traditional and non-traditional settings. It's a Windows desktop application, so it runs locally. So on our website, we have a 14-day free trial. If they're satisfied with that, want to continue, it's $100 a month, and it's month to month. So that can be started and stopped at any time.
When we started, what, 9 years ago now, the whole idea was to just represent colorists around the world. Our motto then was, without representation, you get no recognition. And the pillars that we set out were to further the art and craft of color grading, and that includes restoration and finishing that whole department. And underneath the advancement, we have two methods of doing that. One is awareness, so that's awards and things like that. And the other one is education. The international idea was how we got started, because it's pretty tough to get an organization get going, so you need to have a lot of members. And then as we've built up the society and become more solvent, then we could get these chapters so that people could get together locally and share the resources that we have in the international organization. And a big part of that is the Colorist Mixer, where we get to people that often have never met outside of a forum or an internet group, and bring them together. Before the Colorist Society, there was nobody to go to. If you wanted to find out and research colorists, you could only go to either a company or an individual. There was no way to get a global forum together. So we made that happen. And then we worked very closely with particularly the sponsors to share that information, to share new product information, to share user information, to feed back to them with suggestions and things like that. And that way everybody grows. It's great.
So increasing performance across editorial workflows is a really big priority for us. So some examples of that most recently are, GPU acceleration for transcript generation for speech to text. That's 15 to 20 times faster now that it's GPU accelerated. We also have GPU acceleration for AVC, HEVC MXF. So really popular file format. And, we also have increased speeds for ProRes encode. So it's up to 3 times faster to be exporting ProRes. We have really exciting updates for audio across the audio workflows. First and foremost, we have some new look and feel in the timeline. So we have interactive fade handles where you can, right in the timeline, you can add a cross dissolve or a fade that are really beautiful and smooth in terms of how you're working, but also speed up, reducing mouse mileage, speeding up how you're adding transitions and fades with audio. We also have AI-powered audio category tagging. So
I heard a little bit about this where it will analyze what's going on with the soundtrack and bring up the appropriate tool based on what you might need to do.
Exactly. So AI is telling the program, is it dialogue? Is it a sound effect? Is it music? Is it ambience? Because all of those different audio types have different tools associated with how you want to edit them, right? So now in the timeline, there are badges that say, it says, is it dialogue? Is it music? So you can see visually on the timeline. And then if you click on that interactive badge, it opens the Essential Sound panel with all of the relevant tools to that audio type. So it makes really easy, so if people don't really understand audio that well, it says, these are all the main things that you want to be thinking about if you're working with dialogue or music, what have you. And then the last thing for audio is these really beautiful new clip colors and dynamic waveforms. So when you make the track higher, taller, the waveforms dynamically adjust to how the height of your audio tracks.
Perifery is a part of DataCore, which is a 20-plus-year-old company, and is made up of some of the recent acquisitions we've made from a Kringo product called Swarm and Object Matrix, which is a very well-known name in the media and entertainment marketplace. So what Perifery now is an amalgamation of all 3 of those companies to provide world-class Tier 2, Tier 3 solutions for some of the leading broadcast companies in the world, really anything media and entertainment centric, even in the enterprise aspect. And with our object storage features, the customer has the ability to have their assets created and the metadata created for them. That used to be a very laborious process. There would be roomfuls of people, depending on how large the organization was, to create that metadata. That to actually be manually put in. With our AI products, we have the ability where the AI actually making the metadata very rich in content and then searchable across their entire asset set. And what makes it really cool about our AI products is that metadata will follow that object no matter where it goes. We make that process remarkably easy. One of the things that we're introducing at this show is called our ICE product, which is our intelligent content engine. This ICE acts as a librarian, a remarkably smart librarian who knows exactly where everything is and can point to it and get to it very quickly.
Wow.
And that's included in our feature set with our AI products.
BirdDog, we're really mainly known for our live production solutions, and probably more specifically our cameras. We make remote control PTZ or pan, tilt and zoom cameras. But that's only really the front door of the company. What we've been doing is building out a network-based live production and real-time video system. So our cameras are really a very important part of that, but actually what happens behind them is something that I think is really exciting. And that's how we can make video work a whole lot better over any type of network. And that's, remote control either inside a building or anywhere in the world. And I think really in the post-production sense, Mark, what we probably focus a little bit more on today is what that can do in a post-production environment where you might have a producer or a director somewhere else in the world. And what we can do with our BirdDog solutions is effectively teleport that edit suite to be anywhere else where a producer might be, and they can choose their own adventure. They can see whatever video they want to look at, whether that's the timeline or the final output. But essentially, the company itself makes video products that are extremely high quality. They're built for live production and broadcast. It's all about being network-based and as low latency or as fast as possible. Underneath a lot of our products, we use a technology called NDI. What we wanted to do is make sure the cameras we build have the highest quality, Sony sensors. That's really important to us, but also really easy to use. We recognize that a lot of people aren't broadcast engineers, but they want broadcast quality pictures. And so what we've done is build a whole lot of controls and things around the cameras that are easy to use, that actually in a post-production environment look quite familiar. Like there's a lot of really great controls over the color. There's a lot of control over how you frame up your images, but that's all done over the network and completely remote controlled. But the whole point here is that they're easy to use, they're easy to deploy, and easy to get to understand in the very first place. But our post-production system actually goes deeper than that. What we can actually do is use that same network and effectively make the edit suite part of that environment. So when you're editing, you might have an editor that's using Premiere or Media Composer from Avid. Right now, you can do some sort of remote things. There's review and approvals where you can post up a cut and have someone have a look at it afterwards and comment. But we can use our real-time network to get that edit suite effectively moved or teleported so anyone can look at it wherever they like. And that means that you can not only watch the editor work within the timeline and collaborate with them, but you can also see how that final output is coming along. So if you've got a really tight deadline, or if you've got something that really needs to be tightened up, where you want to collaborate directly with an editor, but with our BirdDog cloud system, you can do that anywhere. And you can literally choose your own adventure with that, where you can look at the timeline while something's being sorted out. You can look at the final output, and then you can even cut to a camera that's in the edit suite and effectively do like a Zoom call with them as well. The cool thing with this, much like everything else that we do, it's all about making it as easy as possible. So this is built directly into these edit suites. We've got a panel that goes directly into Premiere and a panel that goes directly into Media Composer. So as an editor, another pain point is you don't want to learn another application or jump out of an application to do something else. We're built directly into that. So it's as little kind of impost as possible on all of the creative team to get this done.